by the doctors. And to overcome this, that's what we are struggling with.
Right, and that's really the main goal. You know, I think of it from this side also. The scoliosis study about scoliosis has been out for how long now?
Very briefly, though, it said the RSA is the only place it's really been substantially
Okay.
reduced, and we've just started, I think, the first ads on the scoliosis. Very, very early.
In the radiation magazine.
In radiology.
Right, radiology, right. It's, you know, that is...
You know about the radiation?
Right, the women...
That's been out since 2000.
Okay, so that, with that...
Yeah, go ahead. What's been out since 2000? There's a confusion here.
Yeah.
It's not how long the Journal of the National Cancer Institute and when they did the study. That's not the issue. That's not the question I responded to. The question I responded to was when did the scoliosis application of the upright MRI become available? And that's not 2000. That just happened for the first time at RSNA.
Correct. And it still works in progress.
This is a, when Dr. Damadian showed me this, I must be honest, and I'm not a materialistic person, but I said, how could you not make a fortune with this? The scoliosis study. What doctor in good conscience, if the advertisement is out there, that this is the new option for scoliosis, what other option was there before the day you tell the doctor about this study?
Just X-ray.
Well, there's a physical exam first, and then
Right.
there's X-ray.
For the adjustment of that brace, though, the important part is for the adjustment of the brace is the reason they had to multi-X-ray them, right? They were getting 25 average X-rays during their growth years because of why? They needed to be able to adjust the brace, right?
Well, to see the severity of the problem.
Okay, first to see the severity of the problem, but then they had to continue to X-ray that person to do their magic and try to straighten them out. So, yeah.
Scoliosis is a progressive disease.
Correct.
They get 2 to 4 series of X-rays. When they say 4 X-rays a year, that could be actually 16 X-rays a year because each session could be as many as 4 X-rays.
Great.
But what they're doing is they're following the change in the spine
Right.
from the early teens to about the age of 20.
Okay.
With or without a brace may be argumentative because the brace may or may not be applicable.
Absolutely, and again, I'm not a doctor and I'm not arguing any of those points. You're 100% right. The point that I'm going to say now is if you are a doctor seeing patients with scoliosis, and I have told you you now have another option that's radiation-free, it is my opinion with the correct marketing campaign to those doctors, they will no longer in good conscience be able to send a person for an average of 24.7 X-rays during their lifetime and expose them to that radiation. Right? Would you agree with that? I mean, does that make a logical argument? Okay, good. Yes,
I just like somebody said, examine the patient physically as another way of addressing this. That doesn't work for the simple reason that the standard for whether or not the treatment of the scoliosis is succeeding is to quantitatively measure something very specific called the Cobb angle. And you can't put your finger down the back of somebody's spine and get the Cobb angle. And if you can't get the Cobb angle, you can't tell whether the braces and the treatment is progressing. So the only way to do it is with X-ray at present, except for what we're proposing.
Dr. Damadian, just a question. In schools, schools throughout the country, I think I remember in elementary school, didn't they do an exam on students, on children in the school?
Yes.
Yeah, no.
No, I'm just asking a question. That's a physical exam, right?
Yes. But it's not an exam that you can use to treat the patient. Okay? So consequently, there is no substitute for the X-ray machine when you are trying to fix the problem.
Right.
In school, the school teacher runs a finger down the back, says it looks like it's twisted, and what does she then do next? Calls for an X-ray.
Right.
So I'm only simply making the point is that there is no alternative to taking a picture.
How close are we to getting the scoliosis?
You don't want to go there, do you?
Well, I mean, listen, we're talking about.
Bring up everything, bring up everything, please.
If we're gonna talk about it, we're taking a lot of time talking about it, but we're not ready.
No, wait a minute, wait. Dan, you keep making these generic statements, you know? Why do you say we're not ready? Where do you get that info from?
Look, ask Larry.
Now, listen.
No.
You listen to me, and I'll tell you what you can do.
Okay.
You can tell that customer that he can buy the machine, and scoliosis will be on the machine when he gets it.
Can you do it?
End of story, all right? I'll commit to it, and please don't be offering general comments here that you don't know about.
Sir, I'm sorry, but I did, okay, never mind.
I think actually what a big part of this is for us, a big part of this is for us to feel confident in the things we need to feel confident in. And I feel confident that this will be delivered with the machines that are coming. And we have to trust in what is being said about the machinery and the technology. You know, frankly, I have to say something in regard to that. This is a technology that there is no question, and I'm, as a business person, I'm going to make this argument with all of you. So anybody who wants to see me make this argument to a prospect, this is exactly the argument I'm going to make. You can't buy a lay-down MRI any longer and think it's a good investment. Because this technology, I guarantee you, with the amount of noise that Fonar could make and will make in the coming future, they're not going to replace, when one of them needs to be replaced and they have two, they're not going to replace it with another recumbent bed. They're going to replace it with an upright. Why wouldn't they do it? They would be crazy not to. I think the standard will come to, in some way or another, where you could make the argument, definitely to the surgeons. If you couldn't make it to their insurance company, because that's a big battle to fight, you can definitely make all these arguments to the doctors. I heard another one that was floating around, that we don't get as good as scans as some of the other magnets out there because the other magnets are stronger. Let me ask you a serious question on that. And again, I'm relatively new into it. I've been studying it for a long time. But that's a negative which really doesn't even matter in the scheme of things. Let's just say that those 20 million scans a year, 10 million are the back, 10 million are everything else. Okay? Just that. Those 10 million, let's argue that they get a better picture of the brain. I don't believe it, and I think ours is more than adequate, but let's just make that argument. What difference does that make in the industry? It makes absolutely no difference at all. Somebody's getting ready to buy their second machine, say, of course, if you feel more comfortable for this kind of a client, put them in the recumbent machine. But Mr. Business Owner, you are never going to be able to argue ever again that putting a back patient is better off in a recumbent machine than in their weight-bearing situation. So that opens up 13 million scans roughly. The statistics might be off slightly, but that opens up better than 10 million scans a year. Now let's just figure those numbers backwards real quick. You figure those numbers backwards, I think we did it on a 12-hour scanning day. You need 2,080 of these upright scanners just to take care of those yearly. Is everybody going to be happy if they got a big piece of the sales of 2,000 of these? And I would guess the next 15 years, 10 years, that's where I see it should be. That's where the big guys saw it should be when they tried to steal the technology, right? The big guys didn't try to steal the technology and lose in a lawsuit at a huge rate because they didn't think it was right. And now you have something that is already